SIRUI is finally venturing into full-frame autofocusing territory with this new lens, 85mm f1.4 Aurora for Sony E, Nikon Z or Fuji X mount cameras. It is a very affordable, and for the price it delivers really good results. In this video I'll show you lots of samples shot with it, and I hopefully help you decide if this is the right 85mm for you or not. So keep watching to find out more. First, a quick disclaimer, I had this lens sent to me from SIRUI to make this video about it, and I get to keep it, but I was not paid or asked to say anything specific about it, and everything you hear and see in this video is my own and a totally unbiased opinion about this lens. I have a Sony E version here, and all the sample shots in this video have been shot on Sony a7 IV and edited in Adobe Lightroom using my own presets. A link to those is in the description below. So what we have here, this is f1.4 wide aperture prime lens, ideal for portrait photography, but not only. These wide aperture primes always have been very expensive, and only recently a few Chinese brands made them more accessible. SIRUI are known for delivering really good optically video lenses, and this is their first full-frame autofocusing lens, totally suitable for both photography and video. SIRUI quietly claimed that it competes with Sony G Master 2 and Sigma Art 85mm, but it is significantly cheaper than either of those. But how does it work in comparison? Performance-wise, in the real-world situations, it is pretty good. It delivers very good results, but all I can say that it is very sharp and not sharp enough at the same time. Let me explain. It seems to me that it delivers optimal sharpness when you are at the right distance from the subject, and other times it is ever so slightly softer. I'm not saying that it is not sharp, it is sharp, but sometimes the results slightly differ. In most of real world situations, this is not a big issue at all. In fact, this kind of thing adds character to this lens, but for hardcore pixel peepers, this might be a problem. The price reflects that, and for the price it costs, it is all above average and almost perfect. The 85mm is a real good focal length for portrait photography. It creates really nice, natural looking compression when the background seems closer to your subject than it really is. And this wide aperture gives superb subject to background separation, and of course, bokeh. This is very smooth and clean looking, certainly very similar to what Sigma produces, in my opinion. Generally speaking, autofocus performance is very good, quick and snappy and very quiet. There's no hunting or any wobbles. It really works well. Chromatic aberration is way above average too, only slightly visible, and considering this is a budget-friendly f1.4 lens, incredible and rarely seen with any lens in this class. Flaring is very well under control too. Minimum focusing distance of 85 centimeters, standard for a lens like this, maybe not allowing you to get super close to your subject, but very decent for capturing good looking close-ups too. Something I have never seen before is that sometimes, only sometimes, when I close down the aperture, the top of the photos gets darker. Very unusual, and might be only happening with this one lens I have here. I don't know, unusual. Overall results are very good. Good color and contrast, sharpness is totally acceptable, even if it is not 100% razor sharp all the time. Great looking bokeh, and a lens that is much more than a one-trick pony. As SIRUI specializes in video lenses, there is no surprise that this lens is very good for filming with. Autofocus works superbly, and as expected, eye tracking and generally speaking, acquiring the focus is pretty good. The little niggles with the sharpness are not visible when filming with it, and it delivers really good image. Not completely silent, there is a very faint buzzing sound coming from inside the lens, especially when you're doing big focus changes. As with all 85s, it hasn't got optical stabilization built in, and handheld filming with it might be more challenging, but not impossible. Quite a bit of focus breathing visible. A little disappointing in that regard. I don't know why this is so difficult for brands to get right these days. It's not very bad here, but still here. Good lens for all kinds of filming scenarios when you really want to separate your subject from the background and create that very characteristic portrait look. Built, made out of tough plastic composite. It feels well made and sturdy. Good looking lens. It is smaller and lighter 85mm prime in comparison to other ones on the market right now. Only 540 gram light for 85mm f1.4 prime. Standard auto manual focus switch, focus hold button, which is square, that can be customized via the camera, and a switch to enable clicks or switch them off from the manual aperture ring. This feels a little bit plastic when turned. When turned to A mode, auto mode, you can control the aperture via the camera, but it is easy to push it out of auto by accident. What is really frustrating that if you are shooting at f1.4 and turn the ring by accident to manual, to f16 for example, and when you realize that you turn it by accident, turn it straight back into A, the lens will be at f4 now, not f1.4, so you have to keep changing it all the time. Unusual, but not a big issue. The focus ring is quite loose as well. It could be a little bit tighter. The filter thread is 67mm, making the filter purchases for it a little bit cheaper. What's really annoying me is that there is 5 different fonts on the lens. Every text printed on it uses different font. This is not making any difference to how the lens works, obviously, but it looks odd to me. The lens is weather sealed and there is USB-C socket at the mount for updating firmware via the computer. Kind of important as right now at launch it's not fully compatible with all cameras. There's some limitations which I presume will be fixed with firmware updates in the near future. Price. This is very affordable 85mm f1.4 lens, approx £550 or $600 in US. Right now you can buy it significantly cheaper as there is promotional discount at launch, and if you buy it before the end of this year you will also get black mist and UV filters for free with it. 3 times cheaper than Sony G Master 2 version, much cheaper than Sigma, but its real competition right now, especially for Sony cameras, are Samyang and Bokeh. Bokeh is also slightly cheaper than this. Overall, it compares extremely well, and I think it sits firmly somewhere between Samyang and Bokeh and Sigma and Sony. Good value for money when you want a decent 85mm lens that delivers good photos and video, and it costs less than the big boys. Conclusion, this lens has got few little niggles, but it is still capable of delivering really good results. Affordable wide aperture 85mm, ideal for portraits, street photography, close-ups and more. Superb subject to background separation and nice and creamy bokeh. Even though it is not perfect, it might be a right lens choice for many people. The occasional ever so slight softness in images is not making it unusable. It's worth to be aware of it, but it is so little that it can be very easily corrected in post if it bothers you. Most of the time, especially when shooting portrait, it is way above average sharpness wise. When I am saying that it is less sharp, I am comparing it to lenses like the Sigma Art 85mm that might be actually too sharp and too clinical sometimes. Overall results are very good, and I would have no problem using it professionally for the type of photography or videography that I shoot. If you are shooting high-end commercial adverts, sports or even weddings, this might not be for you, but for the price of one Sony G Master lens, you could have 3 of these. This is the first Aurora full-frame autofocusing lens from SIRUI, and I can only imagine that 35 and 50mm will be coming out sometime in the near future. For now, this might be the best budget-friendly autofocusing 85mm out there. I like it. And this is it from me. I hope this video was in some way helpful. If it was, please give me the thumbs up, check out my Lightroom presets and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.